Namaskara Sarvebhyaha. Welcome all you to the first class of Stories Behind Temples Part 2, Virtual Visit of Divya Desham. And this course is being presented by Vyoma Linguistic Labs in association with Gurukul Fund. Let's start with the prayer. Guru Reva Gatihi Guru Meva Bhaji Guru Naiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave Na Gurov Paramam Shishurasmi Guru Matirasti Gurau Mama Pahi Guru Bravimi Sanskritam Vacha Dhyayami Sanskritam Hrida Kurve Sevanchakayena Vande Samskrita Mataram Yonaras Samskrita Vyomni Yalayam Ramate Muda Samskritin Chaiva Samskaram Vindate Natra Samshayaha. Firstly, I would like to introduce our very beloved teacher, Srimati Radha Narayanan. Radha ma'am is a co-founder of a creative head of a Gurukul Fund. She is also an engineer and a business graduate by education. She is a graduate of Chinmaya Yuvaveer program, where she was trained, and she has trained in Indic studies under Acharya of Chinmaya University. And she has also taken the same course, Virtual Temple Tour Part 1, through Vyoma Linguistic Labs. I would really like to, I'm very happy to welcome you, ma'am. Welcome to the course. And here is a small note. As you all have joined the class like this, every day you have to come log into our website, sanskritfromhome.org. Once you have logged in, you will be taken to the student dashboard, where you can see today's class section. Like this, you will be getting the box. You just click on the Join Now button to enter the class. No need of remembering the passcode and meeting ID is required. You just have to click the button and you'll be taken to the class. Here are some webinar guidelines. You can join the class through PC, Android, and any iOS devices. And you'll be receiving the emails from before 24 hours and also before 1 hour. You can use raise hand Q&A. If you have any questions, you can ask through. Please always be on mute unless and until teacher allows you to talk. For better audio performance, audio hearing, use headphones with a mic. That will be helpful. And all the course materials and recording shall be uploaded in the student content page, course content page. You can access the same from your dashboard, student dashboard. If you have any doubts or any issues, any questions regarding to the course or regarding to the recordings, whatever it is, kindly email to us, sanskritfromhome@vyomalabs.in. Hope you all have a very good journey in this course. Enjoy every moment, enjoy the course, understand and go ahead with all the knowledge by the teacher gives you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Radha ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Namaste, am I audible? Yeah. Nice to see some of your faces, some known faces, some new faces. Nice to see all of you. It'll be nice to see you all in the beginning. You can turn off video later if required. Apologies for my bad voice today. You will have to bear with me. But I hope we have a great session together. You're able to see me well? You're able to hear me well? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for joining in. So chat box is going to be open throughout, but Use it judiciously. Don't keep chatting too often, because then it will become cling, cling, cling for others. It will not be an enjoyable session for all. So use it judiciously. The session will be in simple English, and this will be a journey through Divya Desams. We had the journey through Panchabhuta Sthalas last year, and many of you had come for that, and we enjoyed our process together. This time the format is also going to be a little different. The first day starting out, we are going to go to one or two Divya Desams, but later as we move on, there is going to be a quiz. There is going to be a little of a puzzle, riddles, and through finding answers to all of that, we are going to explore more and more and more about Divya Desams to the abode of Lord Vishnu. Ready to go? Yes. Now I'm going to ask for a raise of hands on how many of you have visited any Divya Desam, even one. I have visited that way. Okay. Okay, cool. Very good, very good. Is there anybody who's not been to even one Divya Desam, something like that? Anything like that? Yeah. You can lower your hands. Once you raise them, you can lower your hands. Yes. Okay. Some of you haven't been to even one. Okay. But once the session is over, I want you to know all these stories, and I want you to search for these places and go. There are so many Divya Desams all around you. All you have to do is go and visit them. Okay. Right. So if you have questions, please hold on to them. Towards the end of the session, we will have some time for Q&A. So you can ask those questions. You can even use your chat box towards the end. But in the middle, if you're asking on chat, I will not be able to see an answer immediately. And that will kind of go on loops, and people will try to answer. So there will be a lot of clinging. So I would request you to hold on to your questions, remember your questions, or write them down so that you will remember, so that towards the end, we can answer your questions. Okay. So with that, let us go into today's session. Stories Behind Temples, Season 2, a visit to the Divya Desams. Okay. So though these are, though this is a virtual visit, it's very, very interesting if we get to know the stories behind them. We will feel like we are actually there. We will feel like, I know this, I know that. Next time we go there. That is important. Okay. So first, let's start when we are saying Divya Desam, Divya Desam. What is a Divya Desam? Why is it so special? Any idea? The chat is on. You can reply on chat. What is a Divya Desam? I'm waiting for replies. And chat it out. I was did Mangala Sashanam. Those cities are called Divya Desam. Okay. Swargam, holy temples. Swayambhu Avatara of Mahavishnu. Okay. Lovely, lovely answers. But Divya Desam is actually, of course, it translates to Divya Desam, that is divine abode. Okay. Desam is not just country, place. It's an abode. Abode meaning home. A divine home. Divine home of whom? Lord Vishnu. But not all Lord Vishnu's homes are called Divya Desams. So what is special about them? What is special about them is that these are places visited by the Alvars who went there and sung his praises, sung the glories of Lord Vishnu. Multiple Alvars would have gone to that place and sung his glories. That is what makes a koil, a normal temple, into a Divya Desam. So look at that. The devotee is empowering the Lord. The Lord is usually empowering everybody, right? The Lord blesses everybody. But here the devotees are chanting or singing the praise of the Lord, and the Lord's temple becomes a Divya Desam because of that. Look at the power of bhakti. So that power of bhakti is what we are celebrating through these 6 days on Divya Desams. Okay, and next important question is, we are saying Alvars. Who are these Alvars? Who are those who are going and singing all this? Who are Alvars? Excuse me. Who are these Alvars? 12 saints devoted. Okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Yes, in short, you can call them poets, you can call them saints, you can call them, they are multi-talented in fact. But the core of them is their bhakti to Lord Vishnu. They could be avatara purushas of Lord Vishnu, say the sword of Lord Vishnu, the chakra of Lord Vishnu. They are all avatara purushas. But what is most important is how they lived their life. They are all not the same type. They are all not the same age. They are all not the same gender. They are all not from the same social status. They are not of the same education level. They are all looking very different. But yet what binds them all is their love for Lord Vishnu. And that love, that bhakti is what took them to all these Divya Desams, all these places where they sang the Lord's praise, and hence the temple itself became empowered to become a Divya Desam. Okay, so that is the power of love, the power of bhakti that the Alvars had. So that is the Alvars' love for Lord Vishnu, which we will be celebrating over the next few days. Okay, now a quick game. Are you ready for a quick number game? Yeah. Yeah, so many of you had replied saying yes, there's Mangala Sasanam. So this is the technical name. Mangala Sasanam is the name of the songs or the stutis that they sang for Lord Vishnu. So Mangala Sasanam, they delivered. That means they have praised the Lord at that spot. Okay, so that's the name we should say, refer to. Now let's play a game of numbers. Okay, so there are 4 numbers I'm going to ask you, which are going to be simple things so that we understand and we move on. Okay, so here we go. What are the total number of Divya Desams? Okay. Total number of Divya Desams, 108, 108, 108, 108. Okay. How many of these are in India? How many of these? 108, all 105, 107. Okay, 105. Okay, let's see the answers towards the end. Okay. What is the number of Alvars? How many Alvars were there? All these devoted, favorite devotees of Lord Vishnu. 10, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 180, 18. Okay. Number of stutis or songs sang in the praise of Perumal. By Perumal is Lord Vishnu, okay? By the Alvars. How many? 4,000, thousands, 1,008, 6,700, 38, 3,000 different numbers are coming out. Okay? Okay. How many Mudal Alvars were there? Mudal Alvars meaning first Alvars. Okay. 10, 20, 3, 1. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the answers. Let's see. So, number of Divya Desams in India is 105. Total number of Divya Desams is 108 because one is in Muktinath, right, which is in Nepal, and two are beyond the earthly realms. Yeah, one is Vaikunta itself, and the other is Tiruparkadal. What is Tiruparkadal? The milky ocean on which Lord Vishnu takes a nap, right? So that is also beyond the earthly realms. They are not geographically located in a realm that we can see or we can feel, correct? But that is also part of the Divya Desams, right? Next, the number of alvars that are there is 12 alvars, okay? And the total number of stutis or songs sung in praise of Perumal is 4,000. There were many more, okay? But only these 4,000 could be collected together. Many got lost over time and may not have been collected over time. So 4,000 is called Nalayira Divya Prabandham. Okay, so and the number of Mudal Alvars are 3. Mudal means first. So the first 3 are called Mudal Alvars. So as I told you, Divya Prabandham. Divya again means divine, holy. So the compilation of these 4,000 songs are called Divya Prabandham. Okay, these are sung in the Divya Desams. And Sri Nada Muni is the one who brought it together. This was in 9th or 10th century. As we know it today, he is the one who has structured it into what we see it today. Okay. And who are the Mudal Alvars? Poigai Alvar, Budatta Alvar, and Pei Alvar. These are the 3 Alvars. And they are given the status of the Mudal Alvars. We will see why they were given the status of the Mudal Alvars, what is the story and all that on one of these 5 days, 6 days. Okay. So let's move on. Let's see what is in store for us today. Are you all able to hear me well enough? Yeah. So there is no audio issue, right? Okay. So if there is no audio issue, those who are not able to hear me will have to use a different device, probably use headphones or something, okay? So that you can hear me well enough. Okay, thank you. So, which is the first Divya Desam we are going into? So, any guesses? The clue is Koil. Yeah, Vijaya ji, correct. Sri Rangam it is. We are going to Sri Rangam. The very first Divya Desam. Like in the order of the Divya Desams also, it is on top. And in the importance also, it is on top. So when we say Koil, it usually means temple. So it could mean any temple, right? We can say Shiva temple, Vishnu temple, this temple, that temple. But here in Vaishnava Sampradaya, when we say Koil or temple, the first thing that comes to mind is Sri Rangam. Sri Rangam is Koil. That is the biggest Divya Desam. Okay. Actually speaking also, biggest Divya Desam on earth is Sri Rangam. Yeah, because of its sheer size. Did you see? This is the Gopuram, the Raja Gopuram of the Divya Desam called Sri Rangam, right? So look at the Raja Gopuram. Raja Gopuram itself is so huge. Everything is so huge about this temple. And this temple is not a temple, it's a temple city. Sri Rangam is a temple. Sri Rangam is the city. That means the city itself has developed around the temple. And that temple itself is the city. So such a huge temple, the size of a city. So did you know that Sri Ranganatha, who is famous in Sri Rangam, is not native to Sri Rangam? He did not come out of the land there. He came from somewhere else. How did Sri Ranganatha come there then? Okay, we are going to see that story first. So, we say that Srirangam is Bhuloka Vaikunta. Vaikunta, we know, one of the 108 and the original home of Lord Vishnu, correct? So, Bhuloka Vaikunta means the Vaikunta on earth is Srirangam, the place where Lord Vishnu resides truly and lies down in peace is Srirangam. That's what we say. So there is a text called Sriranga Mahatmya. So this is the Sthala Purana of this place called Srirangam. So there are Sthala Purana. Sthala means space, the place, and Purana means the story behind the place. So the story behind the place have been penned down by various sages and poets over the period of time, because it is usually carried forward as a folklore by word of mouth. But then it started being written down. So when it was written down, it is said that Sriranga Vimana is the top, the shikara of the temple, right? So that came out of the Ksheera-sagara. What is Ksheera-sagara? The milky ocean, which was churned by the Devas and the Asuras, correct? There were so many things that came out of there. And one of those things is the Vimana of the Sriranganatha's Vimana. That is what it is said. So it is said that this was gifted to Vaivasvan. Vaivasvan, the sun god. Sun god has many, many names. Vaivasvan is one of the names. And he handed it down to his dynasty. And his dynasty, one of the greatest of his dynasty people is Ikshvaku. Does it ring a bell? Who is this Ikshvaku? Any idea? Huh? Text is open. Chat is open. Any idea? Rama dynasty? Correct. Rama's dynasty. So he is the great grandfather of Rama, Ikshvaku dynasty, correct? So it was handed down to Ikshvaku, and from them it has been with the Surya Vamshis. So the Surya Vamshi dynasty has been giving it to the next generation that way. And that way it has been Sri Rama's Kula Devata, who Sri Ranganatha. Sri Ranganatha was Sri Rama's Kula Devata. Sri Rama was also one form of Lord Vishnu, right? But yet there are ways of handing down the family deity. And such was the family deity of Lord Rama. Okay, so once it was handed down generation after generation. During Rama's time, you know what happened? Rama went on an exile and he went all the way to Lanka. He made Vibhishana the king there. But for Rama's Pattabhisheka, everybody was coming to Ayodhya. And Rama specifically invited the king of Ayodhya, king of Lanka, whom he made the king. Who is that? Vibhishana. So he invited Vibhishana as one of the special guests. Everybody had come. Vibhishana is extremely devoted to Sri Rama. And that is when all the Pattabhishekam is over and we had to leave. Now return gifts and parting gifts are given to everybody, correct? And now Sri Rama wanted to give something very special, extra special to his new friend, that is Vibhishana. So he gave his own Kula Devata to Vibhishana, saying, yes, Vibhishana, you can take this with you instead of me. Because Vibhishana is saying, no, I'm not going back without you. I want you. You made me king, but without you, I don't know how I will be ruling. So I want one amsha of you. So he said, this is not different from me. So please take. So while Vibhishana was bringing down the murti of Sri Ranganatha. So of course, Sri Ranganatha's murti is huge. Vibhishana is no less, right? He had a flying chariot. Ravana had the flying chariot. So Vibhishana's flying chariot is what he was driving it in, and he was bringing it down. But then there was also a concern that what will happen if Sri Ranganatha goes out of India? He has to be inside Bharata Bhumi. So what happened? There was one more twist in the story that happened. And as he was going down, he saw a beautiful procession happening and a great celebration happening in this town called Srirangam. And that town belonged to this king called Dharmavarman. Dharmavarman once upon a time wanted, his ancestor actually, wanted Sri Rama's Amsha to be in his town. So he used to celebrate this Panguni Utsavam beautifully. Panguni Utsavam is very well known for Lord Vishnu. We will be seeing in the later half also how they celebrate in Srirangam. Okay, so seeing Panguni Utsavam there is a rarity, that it's a festive occasion that everybody wants to be part of. So when Vibhishana saw all this, he wanted to be part of it too. So he wanted to descend. He descended, he kept the Vimana down, and he took part in all the festivities. It was over 2 weeks, and finally he wanted to leave. When he wanted to leave, the Vimana did not move. Sri Ranganatha did not move. That is when he was shocked. Oh, how will I take him to Lanka now? No longer it is possible. So that is when Sri Rama came to his mind and said, don't worry, Sri Ranganatha will not go anywhere. He will be in Sri Rangam, because this was predated. Even before you got him, it is considered to be Dharmavarman's. So he has to be there. But don't worry, he will face down south, where facing Lanka. He will be lying down, Sri Ranganatha will be lying down facing Lanka. So his vision is always on you. So don't worry. That way, Vibhishana finally went down to Lanka. Sri Ranganatha, as promised, always faces the south, towards Lanka. Okay. So this happened, and then after a long time, there were forests, and over a long time, geographical changes happened, correct? So forests grew. There were, landslides, this. So over a period of time, there was mud, and there was sand and soil which accumulated over it. So again the murti was lost. But then one of the Cholas, later Cholas, came to know his name is Kilivalaman. So he is also called Kilichora. Why is he called Kilichora? Because he listened to a parrot speak. A parrot chanted verses from Srirangam Mahatmyam, which talked about where the location of the statue is, where the location of the murti is. So he got the clue, and he was not just thinking, okay, the parrot is singing something, but he got the clue and he dug there to find out where Sri Ranganathan resided. And from there, again, the temple was rebuilt. Okay, so that is the story of Sri Rangam and how Sri Ranganathan came down here. Though he was not a native, he became a native. Yeah. This is how the island looks. So basically, Sri Rangam is an island. But island not in the middle of a sea, but in the middle of two tributaries, two rivers, Kaveri and Kollidam. And they flow like this on two sides. And in the middle is Sri Ranganatha. Okay, so this is the temple here. So you will see the temple here it's a huge temple complex, many gopurams, many prakarams, and the whole city built around the temple. Okay, so the tallest gopuram in south of India almost. So can you guess how tall it is? Any idea? How many feet? You can even say between 100 and 150, between 80 and 100, 108. 108 is not a number that can be used everywhere. So, yeah, it's one of the most beautiful Rajagopurams. It is 239 feet, the Rajagopuram alone. Okay, there are 11 tiers to it. You can count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 tiered Gopuram, Rajagopuram. So, this is how it looks. This is in fact a picture that I took when I went there. So from ground, it looks like so tall, you can't even see the top. Moving on, the temple, as I told you, has 11 corridors or prakarams. So the beautiful thing about the temple is, if you ask me who built the temple, I cannot give you one name. There were many kings, many generations, many dynasties who have contributed to this temple. It is not one or two. It's not a temple that could have been created just by one. It's not a temple which could have been, protected just by one. So Sri Rangam is such a holy place per se, not just the temple, the kshetra, the place is holy, that whoever, whether the Cholas ruled it or the Pandyas ruled it, Cheras ruled it, the Nayaks ruled it, the Marathas ruled it, it doesn't matter. Everybody added something or the other to the temple. This is the beauty about Indian kings. Indian kings, once they conquer a place or take over a place, they never spoil the place. They beautify the place. They'll add their speciality to the place and make it even more beautiful. They never destroy. That is the thing that is so beautiful about our culture, and that continues in Sri Lanka. Okay, and there are 11 prakarams or 11 corridors around the temple, each one built by different kings. Okay, and imagine each corridor will be so huge because it is encompassing a total town. Can you see there are houses and all in between corridors? Today there are houses, but back then these are corridors that were built by the kings. Okay. Then we go inside the temple. Okay, so layer by layer by layer. So when we go to Sri Rangam, we should enjoy every Gopuram entry. Each Gopuram will be very different. It will have a different set of, all the devatas and different sets of elephants or beautiful things on the Gopuram. So notice every Gopuram, every pillar, notice everything. And finally, when you go in, the main Sannidhi, before going into the main Sannidhi, it is an amazing place. So this is how there will be a wooden work. Like there is a wooden mesh on top, and there is a mandapam like that. And as you go in, do you notice the Dvajastambam there? The Dvajastambam here? Huge Dvajastambam. Okay, in gold. Huge Dvajastambam. And right opposite the Sannidhi, before we go into the Sannidhi, there's a huge statue of Garuda. Not short, immensely huge and big. And massive Garuda will be sitting like this in front of his Lord. Okay, so that is something you cannot miss when you go to the Sri Rangam temple. Okay, now you have visited, gone in through the queues, taken darshan of the Moolavar, of the Utsavar. You've come out. When you're coming out through the back, don't miss looking at the beautiful Swarna Vimana. Vimana, I told you, is the top, correct? So this is the Vimana. This Vimana has one particular aspect of Vishnu called Paravasudeva. So he stands like this. He has Shankha, Chakra, and instead of Gada, both of his hands are straight, placed on Padma. Padma meaning lotus. So this is how he looks. Okay, on that Vimana. Can you see that golden Vimana? So this is called Pranavakara Vimana, which is covered in gold. This is the Vimana that they said came out of the Kshetrasagara. Okay, so this is the aspect, Paravasudeva aspect of Lord Vishnu comes out through the Vimana. Okay. Yeah, so we have a lot of mandapas. So generally itself, all these temples have a lot of corridors, mandapas, and there are many, many pillars in these places. Why do you think all these are built? Temple is an abode for God, right? Why should they all build so many mandapas and so many halls with so many pillars? Why is it even required? Why do you think so? I'm waiting for replies on chat. Okay, employment, devotion, encode knowledge. Okay. Celebrate various festivals. Okay. Conduct utsavams. Okay. People to come together and celebrate. Everything is created by different devotees. Okay. Interesting answers. Did you know back then temple was not just a place for worship? Temple was also a place of social learning, a social place for learning. So many of the Gurukulas were based out of temples. Many great saints and sages used to stay in the temple and teach their devotees. And many artistic varieties, for example, sculpting. Sculpting is not like an online crash course. Today you can probably learn. But back then, if you have to learn sculpting, you have to go to a guru who will be there in a particular place in the temple. Go there, sit, learn from them, watch them. That way, say dance, music, different gurus used to come. There used to be classes. So it is also a place of learning, a learning center, a place where conferences will happen, debates will happen, sangams will happen. So all these should be facilitated and space should be available. And that is why so many mandapas, so many beautiful walls, beautiful sculptured pillars, everything. Okay. So this particular mandapa you are seeing here. Can you see my screen? Yeah. So let's talk about this particular sculpture here. So does the person, what do you think? What do you see here in that sculpture? The gray sculpture on the right. Do they look Indian? Guy with mongoloid features, yes. What else do you notice? Piercing others' legs, okay. What else do you notice? Okay. A person climbing on another, men holding Chinese and European traders. Okay. So you see that they are having Mongolian features, Portuguese features. So different kind of features. So this probably is not as old as the temple per se, but a later addition. Okay. So whether it is for medical treatment or whether they are stabbing each other is a different story. But look at the finesse of their dress. The pattern of their dress is observed. The texture is observed. Okay. And the sword is going in from one side and coming out through the other side. And in the center, there is a bulge. All this, if you touch, is noticeable. In fact, the guides there will make you touch the horse also. Touch the, say, the teeth of the horse. The teeth of the horse will be not the same. It will be different from each other. The actual way a horse's teeth will be. Okay. And they will make you feel the leg of the horse. It's almost like you can feel the veins of the horse. That is the level of sculpting. That is the level of observation and sculpting that we can see. Okay. Yeah. Look at this one. This is another one from the same temple. These are all not necessarily perfectly historic incidents, but these might be themes derived from historical incidents and presented in a very interesting imaginary way. That is the scope for art. Correct? So look at the extent of, yeah, it could be a sharaba. So it is a different kind of an animal. They are able to imagine a different kind of an animal. Yeah. And look at what the horse is wearing, the detailing of it. And each of the finger, along with the fingernail, you can see. That is the beauty. Yeah. So there will be definitely symbolic meaning also. For example, many places, many temples, you will see that one thing is being crushed by another, being crushed by another, and finally there is one on top. It's like saying, keep your ego down before you enter the temple. Crush your ego before you go in. So things like that, where it's symbolic meaning, that is also there. So there is also this Airam Kal Mandapam. Airam Kal meaning 1,000-legged, 1,000-pillared Mandapam. Okay, so Airam Kal Mandapam serving many purposes, just like what we discussed earlier. Second, reshare. So let's talk about the Utsava Murti and the Moolavar. Okay, so when we talk about the temple is not a temple without its deity. Okay, so the soul of this temple is Lord Vishnu in the form of Alagiya Manavalan. Look at the name. Alagu in Tamil means beauty. Okay, Manavalan is groom. The beautiful groom is the name of Lord Vishnu in this temple. The name itself is, you're an evergreen groom. Okay, so imagine the kind of jewelry, the kind of ornamentation that Lord Vishnu will have throughout the year. Every day, everything will change. And Lord Vishnu is known to be an Alangara Priyan, while Lord Shiva is considered to be Abhisheka Priyan. Abhishekam, different Abhishekas you give him. You don't even give him any clothes, it doesn't matter. That is how Lord Shiva becomes happy. But when it comes to Lord Vishnu, it is about the kind of ornamentation, the kind of alankara, the kind of garlands, the kind of styles of jewelry. All that matters. Okay, so that is the way to. It's not that Lord Vishnu is demanding all this, but that's the way traditionally we've been pleasing the Lord here, making him happy, and in the process becoming happy. So this is the Alagiya Manavalan. Okay. So who is the main Moolavar? Mulavar is definitely, see, Aragia Manavalan is standing, correct? And we will talk about Aragia Manavalan towards the end also, because there's a very interesting uh, a tradition, a custom that is followed here with respect to Aragia Manavalan. Okay, he is the Utsavar. Utsavar means Utsavam, means celebration. Utsava Murti means the one who is celebrated. So when there is a temple festival, when he has to be taken out in a temple chariot and all that, or he has to be carried out for any purpose, it will be this deity who is carried out, not the main Mulavar. Mulavar is huge. Mulavar is made out of stone usually. So here Mulavar is Ranganatha Swami, as we know. He is huge and he is lying down on a serpent like this on Adisesha, and you will see the most important part of him. We will think, okay, to see his head, to see his eyes, to see his hands are more important, but actually no. When we go there, the first thing we should look for is his feet. Yeah, when we go to Sri Rangam, when we see the Mulavar, when we get darshan, first thing we start is his feet. From his feet, the Deepartane will also be shown that way, from the feet to his chest and to the head, the hands, then the Adisesha and all those who are standing there to serve him. So his feet are extraordinarily special, and that is where our final moksha lies, we believe in. So that is how, what's the Vaishnavite belief is in. So that's why it's extra special. Okay. And when we talk about Ayagya Manavalar, the Utsavar Murti, it's extra special. Let us keep the chat to minimum. We will talk towards the end if you have any doubts. Okay. Now, extra special, why? Because there were times when Ayagya Manavalan was attacked. In Bharat, there have been invasions. Invaders come looking for wealth, looking to break the faith of the natives. And the best way to do both is attack the temple. So in that case, what have they done? They have usually not come down to the south, because our kings and defenders from the north have been so strong that they have filtered out all the invasions and it has never come down south. But there were two times when the south was heavily attacked. And one of the first times was in 1300s, 1310, 1311 time. That is when there was Alauddin Khilji. And Alauddin Khilji's sidekick, okay, his slave dynasty's commander-in-chief was Malik Kafur. So Malik Kafur came down to the south. He drilled down through Golconda and came down to the south, and that was for the first time that southern Bharat faced such atrocities that has never been seen before. Because whenever wars happen between kings, between Bharatiya kings, it was always through ethical, dharmic code of conduct. So they never attacked temples, they never attacked common folk, devotees, saints, never happened. But in this case, everything that they didn't expect happened. And one of the main things that happened was attack on the temple and stealing away of the Utsava Murti. And people, like, it seems 11,000 people were beheaded, who were common folk, common people like you and me. They were not warriors. They didn't have swords in their hands, but they created human chains around the temples. Many layers of human chains around the temple so that the invaders won't come in. But despite that, they were all slashed down, went in, the deity was taken out, and a lot of riches. Because temples were the storehouse of riches as well, because we believed that is where everything lies. And from there we take, whenever economically there was, a low point in the kingdom, the king will take it out and distribute. But here it was all looted, It was all pure greed. And then the murti was taken away. For them, the wealth was not a big deal. The murti was taken away, and despite all efforts, all this happened. So what happened later and how the murti was traced back, I'll come a little later. And going a few years later, decades later, when Ulugh Khan came down, Ulugh Khan again, 60,000 horsemen. He came down, he took 6 months to reach the south of India. And when he heard about Srirangam, that was one of the Chidambaram Srirangam, were the targets. By now, when they already got the news that this team is coming down, 60,000 men are coming to attack, they already decided their dispatch team, logistics was planned. There was a huge wall that was built in front of the Moolavar. And the Moolavar was saved, safeguarded, so that it looks like nothing is there. Okay? And the Utsavar was taken by a team. Even there are many smaller deities, right? It's not just Lord Vishnu there. Many deities are there. So all the deities were dispatched in different directions. There were teams that planned it. The jewels were taken in a different location. All these were decided and they were taken off. But still, the people caught up, and again, thousands of locals lost their lives trying to save the deities. And in this particular journey, both these things almost took around 48 years. 48 years where Ranganatha Swami was on rounds, not coming back to his home. Okay, so from Srirangam, it went to, say, the unit of people who were trying to save went to Jyotishakudi, and then Tirumariran Cholai, and then Kozhikode, and then Tirukannambi, and Punganur, Melkote, Jinji, Tirupati. How many locations? These are all not nearby locations. Look at the map. These are all different locations over. So these were in the Chola territory, in the Chera territory, in the Pandya territory. See, look at the spirit of the kings. Even though they are all not from the same dynasty, and they keep, they will take land from each other, they'll have their own wars. But when there is an external force coming in, they saved the deity. When it comes to Srirangam, or when it comes to any important deity, for them, they are all one. They did not say, hey, this is your deity, you take care of it, I will not poke my nose into this. They all gave space. If I have to go into a fight, I will, but the deity is more important. So they kept their ego down and the deity higher. So that is the beauty. And that is why Sri Ranganatha was on rounds, but he was safe. He was given prasadam every day, wherever he was. And there were people who lived and died just for keeping him safe. That is the beauty. So, in the rounds that he went to, of course, Tirupati was the longest stay. So, he stayed as a guest. Even today, when you go to Tirupati, there is a mandapa called Ranga Mandapa. And there he stayed for almost 26 years as guest. So, of course, today he's back, but that is remembered, and that is why Rangamandapam, everybody goes and takes blessings there. So when the enemy lowered his guard, what happened was Gopanna, who was ruling the Telugu territory then, his army attacked and freed Srirangam. And Gopanna was part of the early Vijayanagara Empire. So Vijayanagara Empire established itself in Srirangam because of that. And the new Utsavar was established. Okay. So the old Utsavar after a long time also came back. New Utsavar was also there. So how did they find out which one is old, which one is new? They did not know. They looked so identical. Okay. So there was a 90-year-old washerman in that area who had taken tirtham. So when they do abhishekam to the Lord, they will give tirtham towards the end, right, that you drink. So he was able to drink the tirtham after bathing the Lord, bathing both of them. And he was able to say which is the old Alagiya Manavalam, the original one. Interesting, right? So I told you I'll come back to that story of Malik Kafur. So when there is a legend of Tulka Nachiyar or Bibi Nachiyar. So she is a Muslim princess, but she is also given credit in the. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah. Okay. She is also given credit in the Srirangam's history. So when Malik Kafur carried away the Utsav Murthy, the princess loved to play with him, and she was like so devoted. She loved this Murthy so much that this Murthy and her became inseparable. But there was one more devotee, a great devotee, one lady from Srirangam, who decided, I am not going to live without finding out where this Srirangam Murthy has gone. I have to get back Ayage Manavalar back to Srirangam. That is my job. So she, gutsy she was, how gutsy she was that she went behind, followed the army wherever they went, all the way, traced the path all the way till the palace. And somehow she sent word to the temple authorities, the administration heads, all that, saying this is the location. So they decided, they brought a team together. They came, they, made a huge journey. So imagine all this is by foot, all these journeys and all. So they came all the way to Delhi and they performed in front of, the king there. And, the performance was so beautiful that he was ready to give anything. And they said, we don't want treasure. We don't want gems and jewels. We want back our Murthy. That's all. Nothing else. Everything you keep. Only our Murthy. But then the princess was so attached to the Murthy, she was not willing to give. But the king gave away the Murthy when the princess was asleep. Or he at least said, I will give. But what happened? These people also had their own doubts, whether they will really give or not. And the king was also changing his mind. So these people said, we cannot wait for so long. Our temple is without our deity. We have to take back our deity. And they took away the deity and left. And then they planned the journey so well that they distributed themselves. They went in different directions. Even if they had to follow in different directions, they wouldn't be finding the deity. That is how they split themselves up. And then when the princess came to know about it, she was very hurt. She wanted the deity back. She sent back forces against the people. Many, many Vaishnavas were killed in various parts, thinking they were protecting the deity. But finally, when she came down to Srirangam and she saw that the deity has not reached Srirangam yet, she was so broken. She did all this out of love for the Lord. She was so broken that she dropped dead. And that was her end. So the head priest is said to have had a dream that the Lord has accepted Suratani, that is Bibi Nachiyar, as his wife. And so she is also given a status in the temple, inside the temple, as one of the goddesses. Okay. So interestingly, one more person finds a huge mention in saving Azhage Manavalam, and that is Vellai. So Vellai was a dancer, a Devadasi. So Devadasis are dancers. Specifically, their employment was to entertain the Lord. Okay, dance, sing for the Lord, take care of the Lord. So what happened when Ulluk Khan came? That is the second one, right? Ulluk Khan came. everybody had planned, Pillai Lokacharya and team, they were taking them here or there, but they had the opponents, the enemy had horses, they had weapons, they were going to attack. So somebody had to distract them. So she took it upon herself. Nobody told her. She took it upon herself. She danced for Ulu Khan and his team. She was such a mesmerizing dancer that they forgot their mission. They were just lusting after her, and especially the main guy who is Ulu Khan. And she mesmerized him so much that she took him to the top of the Gopuram. And from there, showing a view, she pushed him down from there. He fell down, cracked his head, and died. So that way, she was able to give a little more extra time for the team which is taking the Utsavamurti away, correct? So finally, she also jumped off the Gopuram because she said, I feel my purpose for Ranganatha is over. And this is how I want to finish off my life. So even today, in Srirangam, you will see one of the Gopurams alone in white color, though everything is very colorful. One Gopuram will be white in color, and that is Vellai Gopuram, white Gopuram, and that is dedicated to Vellai, the dancer. So there is something called Arayar Sevai. Arayar Sevai started by, I will take 5 minutes more. Arayar Sevai was started by Sri Nadamuni that we saw earlier, right? He was the one who brought the Divya Prabandhams together. Similar, his contribution is very, very remarkable because he traveled from one Vishnu temple to another, one Divya Desam to another. He heard the Pasurams in bits and pieces, and he knew that this will be forgotten over time. Then who will bring them together? How can you culturally consolidate this and keep it passing on generation to generation? That is when he brought this Arayar Sevai. Arayar Sevai is a custom where people will sing particular songs, one after the other. Okay, so these Pasurams actually is said to have revealed through him, and he consolidated them, wrote them together. He also trained people to perform them. So because it becomes a performance, now year on year it will be performed. So somebody or the other will be trained on it. So that way it became a performance culture. Okay? So this is Arayar Sevai. There is another Divya Desam we should have gone to today, but because of lack of time, it's a neighbor of Srirangam, and a very important, interesting story lies here, and it is Urayur. We will talk about it tomorrow. Before we leave, I will just show you a video. Yeah, this is Arayar Sevai. You to quickly.
எங்கனேயோ அன்னைமீர்வாள் என்னை முனிவது நீ நங்கள் கோலத் திருக்குறுங்குடி நம்பியை நான் கண்டபின் சங்கினோடும் நேமியோடும் தாமரை கண்களோடும் செங்கனிவாய் ஒன்னினோடும் செல்கின்றதென் நெஞ்சமே.
So you will notice they have a very different kind of a headdress. Then the way they are wearing the flower, or the way they are in sync with the instrument. So all that is orchestrated in a particular way so that all these chants are remembered. So with that, of course, there are lots to do with respect to Srirangam, because Srirangam is a huge, huge temple, and there are tremendous number of stories. Many, many Alvars have sung here. Out of the 12 Alvars, 10 Alvars have sung here. And that's a beautiful, beautiful story for each Alvar being, singing about this place. So we will talk more details if we get time, but we will move on to many more Divya Desams in the coming days. I will stay back for 10 minutes if there are any queries, any doubts. Otherwise, I'll meet you tomorrow. Thank you. And we will start with a quiz tomorrow based on today's session. Okay. I am allowing you to unmute yourself. Yeah, thank you.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Stay on.
Ma'am,
Yes, if you have a doubt, please stay on. Namaste. Yeah. Yeah, what's the doubt?
Ma'am, can you send the recordings in the WhatsApp group?
I am not to answer for that. The Vyoma people will do it.
Yes, the recordings will be available on the course content page that can't be shared, I guess. Please go through your student dashboard and Vyoma.
Hana ji,
Yes.
I would request you to share the recordings probably at the end of the whole thing. Yeah?
Today itself.
No. At the end of the session. 5-day
Okay.
session, 6-day session.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
that's good. Okay, I'll do that.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. Ma'am, the doubt is, ma'am, told Divya Deshams.
Can I have your video on, Shweta, if you're speaking? Whoever's asking doubts, please have your video on so that I have a face to answer. Yeah.
Ma'am, so the doubt is, ma'am, you told that about what is Divya Desham. So I understood what is Divya, but I didn't understand what is Desham.
So Desam is a place. Okay. So when you say divine place, it's not just a place, but it is also a place housing God. So God's home, divine home of God. But everything is a divine home of God. Any temple is a divine home of God. What is so special about a Divya Desam? That is where Alvars have come. More than one Alvar has come and sung the praises of Lord in that particular place. Okay? So that's what.
Ma'am, and one more. Ma'am, and also you told that the Utsavar has taken to many places.
Right.
And also you told that they took to many places, those were far. But some places, those were near or all were far.
Some could have been near, but imagine if an army is going to come. If you are keeping it all near, definitely it's going to attack there also. So they are going to take the Utsava Murti as far away as possible, correct?
Ma'am, so totally how many the enemies came?
Enemies came in different decades, okay, like tens of years apart, okay. So only twice they were able to penetrate down to the south. Many hordes of enemies came earlier, but mainly not to the Deccan region, because thanks to all these amazing heroes from the north, that the south was safe. Otherwise, this many temples, this old temples in south, you will not find. Thanks to all those from the central, northern, eastern, northeastern, western, especially Bharat, they are the ones who protected the south actually.
Ma'am, the enemies didn't that they didn't try to take the Mulavar?
How will they? Because the Mulavar is too huge. They cannot take, they can only break. So in many places they have broken also. But here they did not break because they did not know. Because there was a wall erected in front of it.
Ma'am, and also to see the Mulavar's feet, there is also, when we do the Pradakshina, I went to Srirangam. When we do this Pradakshina, there is a small window type of thing. From there we can see the feet of the Lord.
Correct. 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 So they do all this so that the feet has all the mahima, all the glory. So it's for us to focus again and again on the feet. Okay? Thank you, Vishuddha.
Thank you.
Devavrata, go ahead.
Yes. See, you told about the horse standing on the leg and the top of this. Some people will discuss scripture, right? Are those
Yeah.
available now?
Available
Are
as
those,
in?
as in some temples, some local temples or some old temples, are they available now?
Everywhere. Yeah, go to, for example, you go to Periyakoil,
Tanjavur.
say Tanjavur. So you
Okay.
will see the huge Dwarapalakar in both the sides.
Yeah.
You will see them putting their legs on top of, say, an elephant, elephant on top of a crocodile, crocodile on top of a snake. So it will be like that.
Okay.
So it's crush that ego and then come inside. That is how the message is. You go to Konark Sun Temple. Konark Sun Temple, it will be a different set of creatures. It depends on that area, what are the creatures symbolizing. One creature probably will symbolize fame. Say elephant symbolizes fame. Something else will symbolize money. Something else will symbolize ego. So everything will be crushed below. Leave all this outside. Then only you will be able to take full focus. Take your full focus to the Lord. Okay?
In Srirangam, the when the Divya Murti, Utsava Murti was carried away, were those area that those times forests or a normal area?
They were all protected, properly protected by kings, right? They were, see, he cannot be taken anywhere and everywhere. There are particular rituals to happen to the Utsava Murti every day because he's God. He is not just a golden statue. That's why we never call God a statue here. We call him Murti, and Murti doesn't have an equivalent at all. We can say idol, but idol doesn't do justice to the word Murti. So Murti is a living entity. It's like taking a child along with you. You have to feed the child. You have to make the child sleep. You have to protect the child such that mosquitoes don't bite the child. So many things are there to take care of the child. So you cannot house the child in a forest. Similarly, this Murti has to be housed properly. That is how they will select places. So the planning committee would have taken care of all this. Okay? Good question. Okay. Any other question?
Hello. I hope I am audible.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to know, just now got to know that there is some WhatsApp group and all that. How do I add on to that WhatsApp group?
Sorry, I'm not the person to answer.
Okay.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Ashokji, can you put your video on?
I don't know very really.
No problem.
Okay.
Please ask your question.
Okay.
We can see you now. Yes.
Yeah. So I have visited in Trichy one temple where Lord Ranganath is lying down. But Srirangam is it the same place or a different place?
So Tiruchi and Srirangam are not far away. It's the same. So there is also Urayur, which is nearby. But Srirangam is the biggest one. Which one did you go to?
I went to Trichy, where that Ranganath Swami is lying down. That is, he's like that.
Correct. It is Srirangam. So Tiruchi is the district. Srirangam is the place, the city. I mean the town. The town is Srirangam.
That means when I went to Trichy, when I saw that temple on my Kadishvi day, Women's Day, is the same Srirangam temple only?
Srirangam temple, yes. That's where
I see.
you have been.
Oh, I'm lucky there because I visited on many years back on Vaikuntha Ekadasi. So I had darshan also.
Oh, lovely. Vaikuntha Ekadasi, Srirangam would have been one of the most visited places.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is a it's the same Srirangam. It's not different place.
Yes.
But there is one place, Srirangam, you know, when I go from Bangalore to Mysore, there is one Srirangam place. Is it different one?
Bangalore, Mysore, yes, must be different because this Srirangam is down south.
Yeah. Srirangapattanam, I think Srirangapattanam is that. Srirangapattanam.
Okay. I don't know about the Srirangapattanam there, but this one is here. Definitely. Yes.
Okay,
Yes, Vishishta, go ahead. Please put your video on, Vishishta, so that we can see you.
Ma'am, you told about the ritual, right, ma'am? The rituals about the songs.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to you when you told the name of the person who did it.
Nada Muni.
Nada Muni.
Correct. Okay. So
Okay, ma'am.
about one more ritual of Srirangam connected to Urayur tomorrow, and we will start with the next series of temples. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. If there are questions, please hold on to your questions. Probably tomorrow we will start with the questions and then we will go into temples. Is that okay?
Ma'am, a question. Hello.
Yeah, Ishan, go ahead. Please put your video on if you're asking a question.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, as you have discussed a lot about the Alvars who sang the I think poetries for Srirangam. So in our textbooks we have read about in the Vaishnav Sampradaya about Alvars and Nayanars, but there was not so deep information about them. So if you throw some light on Alvars and Nayanars in next class, so it would be helpful.
We will need so many classes to do that. Each Alvar's story, if you take, every day, every life instance becomes a what do you say, a song to sing. They are people who have devoted their life to singing the glory of the Lord. Correct. So they would be going from place to place to place, and at each place, when there is an issue, they will sing a song and the Lord will bless. So it will be as though the Lord created an obstacle so that they sing a song, so that they get blessed. So it's like that, it goes in that circle. So we will talk about a few Alvars, definitely. In the 5 days, definitely a few Alvars will come up. Connected to the temples we are talking about. To cover all of them will be a session by itself. Then we will not be able to go into the temple.
I am a little excited to know about the Alvars and Nayanars because never have been taught so deeply about them.
Lovely. So let's take a session separately for that also. Okay. So as of now, because we will cover Divya Desams and as we cover Divya Desams, there are glories. See, Divya Desams are not Divya Desams without talking about the glories of the Alvars, correct? So definitely Alvar stories will come in. So let's trust the process and keep running. We will cover as much as possible. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ishanji.